So my name is Carlos Walker, and this is Forward Progress. And today we're here with Mr. How do you say your name? Hussein?
Hossein.
Hossein.
Hossein Miller. Yep.
Mr. Hossein Miller, if you will, before we start, share with the people who you are and what you do.
I'm Hossein Miller, and I'm an ASL interpreter.
Mm,
I work with the deaf community.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
before we start, if you will, I know you have been formerly incarcerated.
Yes, I have.
Share how much time did you actually do?
So I was short time. I did 5 years. I was at Buckner
Okay.
for 5 years. But that's just that 5 years isn't doesn't really speak to everything. I've been in and out. I actually been in and out over 20 times from different regular county jails, and yeah. So that 5 years was just, I guess, them saying they had enough of me. You know, they wanted to sit me down a little bit. Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that, we're gonna go before and talk before you got to five, like who you were before you even got sentenced. I want to know a little bit about you. Then we'll talk about the time that you spent for the five, but then we're gonna go into what you do now, how you got to this point, who you are. This is the reason why it's called Forward Progress. It's not
Okay,
about what we did or who we are, because the crimes don't make who we are.
that's
What
right.
does is what we decide to use the the time that we set down to impact who we are now to become
Exactly.
this. So
Right.
as I like to
Right.
always say, it's the caterpillar becoming the butterfly, but the butterfly telling what the caterpillar went through.
Amen. I'm with you on that one, brother. So before I got to five, I was really a nobody, just out in the street trying to make it. You know what I mean? And I say that because me looking back on it, probably at that time I was somebody to people who, you know what I mean. We all in the streets. Definitely tried to make money out there. Tried to make a name for myself. Just my life was trying to stay above water.
Okay.
Whether that was probably selling a little weed, selling some cocaine, selling some crack. Um, that's just what I did. Not on like a really big scale like some others have, but um, I was a master manipulator. You know what I mean? I definitely could sell water to a whale if I needed to. But I did a lot of things, when I was out there before I actually got time. Um, Stealing, robbing, uh, whatever probably that would just basically get me through the day.
Okay.
I really had no real goals, no real aspirations, no real identity actually. Some people knew me as, oh, he's a hustling motherfucker. Some people knew me as, oh, he'd knock you the fuck out. Some people knew me as the connection to get what you needed. You know what I mean? So I really had no real identity in the street. Just
Mhm.
I would call it a nobody, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who's just wasted time trying to make it in life. But we don't understand that because we're not educated on what we need to do to succeed. All we really think about is we're conditioned to think, oh, this white man won't let us through, so we got to do it this way. Um, Even as early as 8 years old, I remember going on a train with a piece of paper, riding the train from going out Vienna, Virginia, with a whole paper saying that I was with the Boys Club just to get people dollars and then go buy some weed with it. You know what I'm saying? And we literally would ride one train and go into Virginia, and we wanted the white people money. But you think of it today, it's just the people who are well off and they are more
Yeah.
likely to give. You know what I mean? And that's what I did.
So let's go back into your childhood, being that you especially brought up being that age, and learning how to, I guess you could say, manipulate the system because you already knew a few things. You knew how to say, hey, Boy Scouts and everybody else do this. I can do this and get some money. But let's go back into your childhood. Tell me a little bit about your childhood, about your upbringing.
So I grew up in Washington D.C.
Okay.
Um, Born in Surfside Quarters, Northwest D.C. My mother's deaf.
Okay.
Um, my father wasn't in the picture, and I can elaborate on that later. But having a deaf mother, and having to be an interpreter at a young age, I control language in the house.
Mm.
And if you control language, a lot of people don't understand. When you control a conversation or you control language, you are empowered over people. You can manipulate how things go. For an example, in elementary school, I went to Walker Jones Elementary School. It used to be all the way at the bottom of Certain Quarters, and I used to get in trouble. And I could literally have my mother in front of the teacher, and the teacher is telling me to tell my mother I'm a fuck up. I'm fucking up. I ain't doing no work. And I could manipulate and bring that into the language that my mother needed and make it seem like she's saying good things about me.
Because one, she don't know. Well,
She don't know what this
she
teacher is
probably can
saying.
read lips, but she can't really interpret it fully.
Couldn't interpret it fully. And I wasn't a bad kid, but I was sly. That's what my aunt say. You wasn't a bad kid, but you was sly. You could do all the things the bad kids did and won't even get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? Or when you get in trouble, you figure a way to get out of it. Um, so that's what I did. I was a mama's boy, so there was also things that I did, to make sure I help out with my mom, and that goes back to what we call baby dolling,
Mm.
piece of paper, going out there asking people to donate for the boys club because we ain't got uniforms, but taking that money, and of course buying weed, but also getting things for inside the house. I remember going to the gas station. They used to sit on the corner, First and 8th Street. Now it's a Giant there or something like that. And really pumping people gas for dollars. If they're taking them dollars and trying to probably go play video games at Trailways and give some money to my house. So I was that kind of kid, that was my upbringing. Um, Back then, having a deaf parent was hard because kids are mean. So I remember getting in fights in school just simply because somebody teasing me that my mom is deaf. And
Mm.
we all know deaf people make noises. So, things like that caused anger, frustration when people want to talk about that instead of changing to be like, nah, I'm actually cooler than you. I know two languages. You know,
But you don't know that you really know two languages. You don't have
don't
that
know. I
when you're
really
young.
did not understand. Like, of course, I questioned why do I have a deaf parent? Was I cursed or was I adopted? You know what I mean? But to know that it was actually cool that I knew two languages and the ASL actually being my first language and English is second. Because in the house is your first language, and then you go out
Hmm.
into the world and pick up everything else. And I didn't realize how cool it was until I got older and got tired of getting in trouble.
So, what age did you start? I know you started, manipulating, getting money certain ways to feed the house, but also to, get weed and stuff. Where did your train of mind state go for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna get some drug money, rob, do this, do that? How did this come about?
But looking back on it, I understand I didn't really have a father figure in the house. All the
Mm.
father figures was the guys outside, the niggas outside hanging on the corner who you can go to and be like, give me $1. I go to the ice cream truck and they'll pull off got this big ass bankroll and go into the middle of it and get the dollar for you. You know what I mean? After they went through all these 50s and 20s and hundreds and fives, they give you the dollar. But those looking at that, and then I had a friend, his mom and dad actually was big time.
Mm.
And we actually used to dip in their stash and use it to sustain ourselves. And we just actually one day was like, man, we're gonna take this much and we ain't gonna look back. And that's how and I think we was maybe about 11, 12 years old at that time. And it was just selling weed to the people at school and elementary school at that, selling it to them like we got the nick bags, you know what I'm saying? You got $5, we give you this bag, $4 here, you can have it, So that's how it got started.
This shows one the process of thought, how you can always set a goal and accomplish
Hmm.
it. Most people may not always look at things that way, but me, I kind of view things totally different. I see how for any drug dealer, anybody who's been in the streets, if you have set a goal out to whether it's to get something or whether it's to become big and accomplish it, you have the mindset to set goals in your citizen life and accomplish it and become whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move forward just a little bit. If you don't mind me asking, what was your charge? The charge that landed you in for the five? Because I know you've been
Death
in
over
and out.
1,000.
Huh?
Death over 1,000.
Theft. Oh, and they sent you to the feds.
Well, DC is all feds.
Yes, I forgot. I'm
DC, you can
thinking
catch
Virginia too.
a simple possession charge over and
Oh,
over and over. When they give you, anytime they give you 366 days and up,
to the
you got to
feds.
go to the feds. And even if you get that 1 year, you kind of go up there, get a number, and then you kind of kick right back out. You only do about 6 months of your time, but you can touch the feds though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So theft over 1,000. What you'd been in jail a few times? Well, you said over 20 times. So you'd been in jail. Was this your first prison bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so when they sentence you, I always like to deal with the psychological part of everything. What did you feel? What was your mind state? What was you thinking?
Um, I felt in a way I want to say a selfish feeling. Like, how could you sentence me? Why would you give me that time?
Hmm.
I felt like I didn't deserve the time. I also understood I actually buried myself through all of those different convictions, accepting plea deals and all of that, not realizing that the past caught up to me. And I was hurt. I was disappointed. Um, I felt like 5 years was forever. I felt like when I got out, it was nothing else to do. What else do I do? You know what I mean? Like I couldn't see that far ahead. 5 years, and 5 years, as we know now, is no time, whether you in or
Five
out.
years, 5 years a long time. Look, they can
Inside,
build
five years of wasted life.
out here. They can build a whole city.
That's no time. That's what I'm saying. 5 years of wasted life is bad, but
Yes,
5 years in the real world is no time.
it's
Heck, look how fast they gentrified DC.
less than five.
In some areas, it only took a year.
Mm, it
Yeah,
time is like
it's
they
it's
said
it's
of the
bad
essence.
out here. 5 years is no time. So wasting 5 years of your life is detrimental to anyone,
Hmm.
to anyone, especially when you ain't doing nothing about it. And
Okay.
many of our brothers, as you know, being inside, we do nothing about it. We don't educate ourselves. We think we reading books, but really, we ain't. Not many of us worry about what we want to do when we get out. It's more so let's have fun, not have fun, but make the best time out of it. We worried about the soups. We worried about the hookup. We worried about being in what car we in. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that you know what I mean. You ain't violating no rules and things like that. five
Hmm.
years go away quick, man. Quick, quick.
So, what did you do? I already know the emotional standpoint. You got in there. Tell me a little bit about the time. Tell me a little bit about what you may have
I
seen.
wasted. I wasted 5 years bro.
You waste your whole time.
I wasted it. I really one good thing I will say is I learned how to let go, and this is my opinion. I learned how to let go of religion.
Mm,
Um, I just had time to really read the Bible, read the Quran, and I even read the Torah. But I wasted my time. I didn't get any real good education that was going to help me in my career that I'm in right now. Um, I just really wasted my time. I just worried about making sure a nigga don't know he don't want to cross this line and riding with the homies and just wasting time, bro. I wasted my time.
mm. When was it that you actually made a decision that you was going to make change though? Was it there or after you got here?
After I got out.
Because everybody, I met me being one. I figured I made change there. But you have some people they can make it after they get here. Most people is almost too late.
Yeah. Um, I tell people all the time, and this just goes back to my mother. I was lucky to have a deaf mother.
Mm, mm, that's a
When I
blessing.
say really lucky to have deaf parents, because I wouldn't have never picked up the language, for one.
Mm.
And I wouldn't have never thought to pick up any other language or pick up any other trade.
It's almost
So
like
you
God
take
just
away
gave you
this from
everything you
me,
needed.
you take away this from me. I remember when I came out, I went to work in warehouses, and goes back to get the gab manipulation. I could really convince these people. I mean, I was a hard worker. My work spoke for itself because I was determined not to go back to selling drugs and lying about me back and doing all this other stuff. Um, so I kind of moved up quick when I was in warehouse, and I worked for an office supply company, and I
Okay.
worked for Cisco, which actually supplies all the prisons with their food and schools, hotels. I actually became a manager there. I just It wasn't satisfying in life for me to get up and go to a warehouse and deal with people attitudes and deal with my own attitude and have to work hard. I remember working at Cisco. I lost 60 pounds in like 8 months
Because of the
because
hard
it's
work.
that much moving and running and hard work.
So you had the determination not to go back to the streets. Started hit the ground working, even though, like you said, you may not have had the idea of what you wanted to do.
Mhm.
You didn't know what route to take outside of I ain't going back there.
I ain't going back. That's all it was. I'm not going back.
That's enough determination to change your life.
Oh,
Even
hell
though
yeah.
even though it may not have had, I guess what you feel, a purpose driven life. It
Yeah.
had purpose behind the ideology and the thought process of we can't do this.
Yeah.
So share with me how you decided to, I guess how me I always add God to everything, how you decided to choose to do sign language or a what is ASL?
Yeah. American Sign Language, ASL. So this is just God. You know what I mean? Although I'm not religious, we all believe we know it's a God out there. Whether
Yeah.
you have your
You
own
just
religious
ain't
belief or
you just
whatever.
ain't conform to one.
Right.
You understand that there's a God there and you are moving in his essence.
Yes. One day, I mean, life was going good for me after I got out. You know what I mean? I got this warehousing management position, which I thought at that time was my career. I had got married, and I remember we went to Disney World. I saved up enough money to take my family to Disney World, and while we was there, we got low on money,
Mm.
which I thought at that time was enough money to go and have a good time. But when we on vacation, we hate to be like, I can't get that because I ain't got the money. We gonna want to buy that. You know what I mean? If you want it, I'm that type. If you want it, you go get it. You know, you can have it. Um, and it made me upset. It was so I was so mad that we didn't have enough money to have fun like we wanted to. We was budgeting. We was penny pinching. So I had made a sacrifice for my family to go to a show, and I stayed back and I went to sleep. And in that sleep, I had a dream. My mother came to me, and my mother was treating me like I was maybe. I just felt I used this number 9. I felt 9 years old again. Like 9 years old, you still kind of don't think for yourself yet. Your parents
Mm-hmm.
tell you what to do. You won't rebel that much. You know, you ain't gonna suck your teeth. You gonna listen. So when she came to me in this dream, she was yelling, almost like she was about to whoop me. But I'm a grown man. I even did like this in my dream, like like okay, because my mom was famous for twisting our ear in public. So I felt like she was great, twist my ear, and she was yelling at me like, "Why you wasting this gift? Go interpret." And I woke up. I remember going on Facebook, and they had these different groups for sign language interpreters. And me, I fall into this specific category of children of deaf adults. It's called CODA. They have a movie about it and everything called CODA, CODA. And I was in this group specifically for coders, and I just typed in there, "Hey, I want to become an interpreter." At that time, my skill wasn't that good because my mom has already been gone 20 years now. So I really didn't sign. And this white guy came on my post, put his number up there, and I took off from there. I'm where I'm at today because of the same white man who they said ain't gonna help you or ain't gonna let you do this, pull me in.
You never know how who God gonna use to
God will
elevate you.
use everybody. Yeah.
I promise you. You just got to know that you're called to do something
Mhm. Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
life while you're here, and to enlighten or to inspire somebody.
Yeah.
And God allowed you to use a vision of your mother telling you that you had a gift. There's a Bible verse I always go to. Your gift will make room for you and put you before great men. I think when we met, I told you that same thing out there in DC.
Yeah.
It was your gift that actually got you doing the things that you're doing now, but helping out people, being able to sustain yourself,
Mhm.
to be a language connector for people who has a barrier, who can't speak with. I told you, my niece, she's deaf.
Yeah.
So my brother, his whole entire family, brother, his my niece's two siblings, their mother, everybody signs,
That's what's up.
and they
Hey
are
man, salute them. I don't mean to cut you off, but you gotta salute them. And again, I don't mean to cut you off, and I'm gonna
no,
tell
go
you
ahead.
why that's important that they did that. My mother has 9 brothers and sisters. So that makes 10 kids in the family. 2 parents, a mother and a father, and nobody signed.
Mm,
Can you imagine not having a modality of communication with your mother,
mm.
or that your mother doesn't want to communicate with you? Because that's how it feels to a deaf person,
That's how
or
I
your
feel.
brother or your sister doesn't want to learn how to communicate with you.
I know.
So please, please, please do this to them 2 times for me.
I
Tell them
promise
we
you, bro.
really. Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that
I
was dope.
really, I really, really, on behalf of a child with deaf parents, I can't really speak for the deaf community, but I can say having a parent who didn't have communication with her family, I just thank them and I salute them so much for that.
I'm gonna make sure that I also send this because I'm about to me and my other siblings, we're about to push ourselves to start learning because during the graduation we went to, we was there, she was there, and we was eating, and the rest of us can't. We can hear her sometimes. I can hear her because she can't get words out, but this ain't her language.
Right.
She want to communicate with us, and here we
Yeah.
are. We're not taking the effort to learn a few words, to be able to have a conversation. And
Yeah.
it means the world to people, as you just said, to just be able to be seen, heard. And when you can't communicate with people, we can write it on paper, we can text her. That's not her language. She
That's not her
wants to.
language. I'm glad you understand that. That is not her language. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I told you, look, I had to do this interview
Thank you, brother.
because
I appreciate this, man.
to see you walking in your purpose, this is your God-given purpose. Your
Yeah.
mother, your mother gave you a gift that literally, she's still living.
Hmm.
She's still living
Thank you.
through you.
Yeah.
And that's the mind-blowing part is that she was able, God gave her something that will sustain you for the rest of your life. Because until you leave here, you will need this. And I'm pretty sure you have taught it to your kids.
I taught, well, I was ignorant before, so I didn't. I taught a couple of my kids, my younger kids. I got 8 kids, man.
Congrats.
Yeah. But my younger kids, they live in Florida. They are in classes. We video chat all the time, and I'm teaching them. So, yeah, you live and you learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because this is like Spanish or anything. If you give it to them, they can take and use it just the way your mother gave it to you to use it later. They don't know what it's for now or why this had to go, but this turns into a family generational thing that
Yep.
continue to set y'all up for success because this is a language that y'all have that 90% of the world don't use.
That's true.
And there's a lot of black
Language
people.
period, though. Language period. I
Yeah,
wish I knew
language
two other,
period.
3 other languages because, and also for the future, if anybody, people need to hear this. Language gets you paid.
Say it again.
Language gets you paid. Whether you speak it, but the English language itself, how you speak, how you are able to articulate your words will get you paid, let alone you speak another language. I think the average language broker makes minimum $50 an hour.
Mm, good
That's
job.
like Spanish. When you get into like Arabic, that's when you go into like $100. I think the top one right now is Amharic. It's an Ethiopian language. $200 an hour. They
Good
will pay
God.
you, and you can make stipulations like I only work 8 hour shifts. They'll give it to you. You'll get 8 hour shifts every day if you want. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because what we get to do now, hopefully what I can invest into other people is to learn language. Because technically that's what you just said. For me, I'm very big on language itself, even though all I do is I speak a little Spanish, but I
Mhm.
speak just English. I'm learning to because I want to become I not want to become, I am an inspirational speaker. I've did a been a keynote
Amen.
speaker.
That's right.
And
Speak it to yourself.
and you have to learn how to articulate yourself. These people make technically tens of thousands of dollars being on stage for 30 minutes to an hour. And
Five
if
hundred,
you
1,000, $1,000 just for me to come speak. Man, give me 15,000 for to
man,
come speak
literally,
to you. Yeah.
I look on in conferences, people I got a I have a mentor, just spoke to him before me and you actually talked. He told me to last year, imagine getting paid $20,000 for an hour. And I was like, what? He said, imagine doing four. I said I could do 56 of those. I can do one a week. And well, I think it's 52. I forgot how many times. I
Yeah,
think it's 52
52. Yeah, you're
weeks.
right. I'm
Then,
here. I'm
but
following you. 52
look,
weeks.
and that made me think. because what you do, because you're a language interpreter, and you can actually become a national speaker.
Yeah,
Because me, if I was you, and you probably already do it, if you aren't speaking on national stages, your story gives you the weight to do so.
that's
One,
true.
having a mother who was deaf and you had to learn the language and felt ashamed at this. This gives you the downside of it. Then having to not want to use it, but then ended up in prison and didn't know what I wanted to do. Wasted what you thought was wasted your time. You ain't waste no time. Time
No,
ain't over.
I understand that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
But what you thought was wasted time, and then you come home and yes, you hit the job running, working, doing, but then you have an epiphany. God give you a dream, and it's your mother telling you that your gift that she gave you is being wasted. And here you go, type on the computer and reach out to some people. And next thing you know, you are who you are today. But it stems from way back then of you learning a language and feeling hopeless because it looks funny to the outside eye.
Yeah,
On stage, you telling this story, you formulating this story to the ability where they see the highs, the lows. You literally, I can see you on stage getting tens of thousands of dollars.
I do a couple of especially for kids like me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to juvenile court sometime, and the judge, Master Sparrow, was her name. She was like a unique judge for juvenile court, and you had to call her Master Sparrow. And she used to look at me every time I came in there. And she would say, you got a gift, and yet you want to be out here doing ignorant stuff." As an adult, I started thinking, yeah, you telling me I got this gift, but what do I do with it? What resource can you offer me? You're at the court. So I decided 3 years ago to start supporting kids with deaf parents like me. Um, it started with just speaking with them. Right now, this year is my first year. I'm actually going to sponsor 8 of them to go to a camp, which is specifically for coders. Um, and in the future, I hope to be a resource for the court because a lot of us tend to get in trouble. And maybe the court, the judges say, you know what, I got somebody just for you, and call me up
I
as a
think
resource.
I think you can get that because you understand what they're going through because you went through it. And they
Yeah,
only need to be able to see that you're successful in what you're done because you learn to use the gift that they have to become successful.
yeah,
This is one of the reasons why I started doing this is because I realized a lot of us go to prison, but a lot of us become successful. There's so many of us that have come home and did great things or doing great things such as yourself.
yes,
So
sir.
I commend you. I tip my hat to you because
Same to you, brother. Thank you.
the thing about it, we have to be seen. We have to also be willing to tell our stories. And when we're willing to tell our stories, now those that are still in prison, that's where I'm working to get back in there to tell them, look, yo, there's a lot of us, we out here and we fucking successful.
Yeah.
But a lot of our success started where we was at. Even
Hmm.
though yours may have started here, it was still part of the plan, part of the journey, because
Yeah.
you didn't know what you was gonna do. But even that 5 years of not doing nothing shifted you to work at just being a manager, being there to get you to wake up.
Hmm.
The part of the journey is the journey is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. It
But
is definitely a part of your journey, and it adds to it. One thing I can say that benefited is I do church interpreting.
hmm,
You know how easy it is to interpret something that you know? So, when they talking about different stories in the Bible,
you read the
I
Bible.
I read the Bible. I
So
remember the stories.
I'm about to give
I
you
know the
something else.
names that they talking about. So funny. This last Sunday, I was interpreting, and another interpreter was up there, and they kept saying Elisha, Elisha, Elisha. And this interpreter thought they were saying Elijah.
And he wasn't.
Talk about Elisha. So I was able to tell her, hey, no, look, Elisha. And
So
then she's like, oh, boy, she didn't know the story. And that's nothing bad on great interpreter, certified, wonderful interpreter she was. She just don't know the story. And that kind of like changes the narrative on things. Yeah.
so I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad you brought that point up. Your 5 years wasn't in vain. You read the Bible, you read the Quran, you can go anywhere, and because you know these stories, you also understand the stories from a living standpoint.
Yeah.
Most people don't read the Word of God, whether it's the Bible or Quran or whatever. They don't read it. Now, Quran, yes, they got to, because they got to, is a small book, and during Ramadan they got to read.
Yes.
A lot of Christians do not read the book. So what's lacking, they don't get the power from out the stories that's there.
Yeah.
But
And you also understand how your past means nothing because God didn't use some awful people. Lord have
everybody in the
mercy.
Bible was tore to pieces except for Jesus.
Everybody.
And
I
maybe a
tell
couple more
people,
prophets, but Jesus and a couple more prophets, but the rest of
I
them,
think
everybody.
Jesus was the only one that was pure, but everybody else,
Well, I
and
didn't see
even
Elisha.
Abraham.
Yes, everybody messed up.
Abraham was, I that's actually how we got different religions, but that's a whole different
Yeah, yeah.
topic. But Abraham is the reason why we have different religions.
Ishmael, Islam, everybody else
Yeah.
go, but we're all
But
up under.
yeah,
That's our father of faith.
it just goes to show God can use you no matter who you are, and you can come back and people will turn around and respect you, um, and love you, and appreciate the value that you add to this world, this earth, because everybody has value. Everybody can add to this ecosystem that we have. Whether you a carnivore in this world or a herbivore, you still add to it. You can't have too much of this. You can't have too much of that. You need a perfect cycle.
Look, before we leave, you done told already shared a few things. I was going to ask questions, but you already shared what you want to do. Let's get back in the courts and be able to help. And being matter of fact, you're about to sponsor eight youth to be able to be a part of something that's huge.
Me and another interpreter doing it together. Yeah.
It don't matter. Look, hey, being there, I don't know them. I know you, and you are doing. Look, I'm here to tip my hat to you, but I do thank them for doing what they're going to do too.
I will definitely.
And I do want to ask you to leave a word of wisdom that can be shared with, whether it's somebody young, somebody old, somebody who's lost, don't know. Leave a word of wisdom for them, so then, just in case if somebody get this, they'll be inspired.
We all could say a lot of things that will inspire somebody. I myself feel like we all say the same thing. Don't give up. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't. All those things are true.
Hmm.
But one thing I really, really never heard people talk about is when you start on that road and you start telling people not, not letting people input negative things in your body, is when you obtain that success, don't be remorseful. There's this thing called survivor's remorse, and
Mm.
it's a real thing. When you feel like you're leaving people behind, you feel like, oh, people telling you, oh, you forgot where you came from. People telling you, oh, this. Don't fall for that. Don't let them tell you that. The reason you are becoming successful is because you ain't forget that. You can never forget the struggle you went through. Never. Just because you change your behavior doesn't mean you forgot that. You change your behavior because you remember how crazy, how dark, and ugly that was.
Mm.
So my advice to you is when you guys start getting this success and the world is loving on you and you able to love correctly on the world, don't worry about the past. Don't have no remorse. Live in it. Stand 10 toes down in it. Put your chin up. Help who you can help. There will be people from your past that understand your ambition and some won't. Everybody can't go. If we go to the Bible, heck, Lot's wife couldn't even go.
Couldn't go. She turned around. That was
She
her fault.
turned around. Can you imagine that? She did this and he was holding her hand.
And she turned into a pillar of salt.
Everybody can't go. And that's okay. It's your life, not theirs.
You're the main character of your story. I tell
You are
everybody.
your story. That's right. And they're just parts of your story. And just like any other story, some characters fade away. In the movie, some of them get killed. You know, so
Look, you got to accept what it is and know that you are here for a reason.
yeah,
And they are too. They help inspire parts of your life.
yeah,
But to your
yeah.
point, don't hold look, don't get the remorse. Look, if
Survivor's remorse.
when they get ready,
They will. Yeah.
one of my favorite books is Who Moved My Cheese. I don't know if you ever read this book. If you've never read it, read it.
Okay.
And it's small too, but it's two humans, two people, and it's two mice. The mice know how to get and go. Whenever the cheese die out, they gone.
Uh-huh.
So the two people, one of them, he hung around for a minute and was like, "Man, ain't no cheese coming. I got to go." He took off. He finally and he was hoping that his man was coming. His man stayed back there, and he would leave little notes for him as he went along, hoping that one day he would come. But he had to go. You cannot. Hopefully, one day they'll realize by looking and being being the inspiration for them, or the
Mhm.
main or the supporting cast member in their story, they realize that ain't no cheese here. I got to go. I got to move now, and they'll catch up with you later. But if not, it was their choice. So I love that principle, and I appreciate that because
Thank you, man.
I
Thank
think
you.
I may have needed it.
Say it again.
I said I think I may have needed it.
Yeah, we all do, man. We listen. People out the people you love hurt you the most in a way, but you just give them love back, and you have to keep on going because, dag, man, we all can't be at the bottom.
Good God, look, and you seeing me move. So look, move like I move. If you was with me when I was slanging drugs, you probably need to be looking at me now because I'm moving different now, and
Yeah,
it's working.
it's working.
Look,
It's working.
I love you, bro. Stay on line real quick.
Likewise.
Look, this is Forward Progress. This is Mr. Hossein Miller. My name is
Uh,
Carlos Walker, and hey, thank y'all.
God bless you.